Hey guys, I'm Curtis from Just Another Night, and today we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball games. So this week we're doing sort of an anime themed week, so yeah, let's hope it's interesting. So my experience with anime is very limited. It's not something that I will regularly watch or engage with. However, the one that I've always held very close to my chest is Dragon Ball. So growing up, I remember watching it as a kid. The original Dragon Ball series is what I used to watch on reruns, and it was just incredible watching little Goku run around doing martial arts. He had this cute little tail, and honestly, it was just incredible. And since then, I've probably not really liked anything else as much, to be honest. So as far as Dragon Ball games go, there's way too many to mention. There is probably at least 50 or 60 games. So this video is just going to be talking about my experience with the Dragon Ball games, what I think about them, and which ones were my all-time favourites that I have played. All the gameplay used in this video is not mine, so I will put links in the description as to where you can find them to give credit to the original authors. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and then let us know down below what your favourite Dragon Ball game was, or is. Depends if you still play it or not. So the first time I ever played a Dragon Ball game, it was on the PlayStation 2, and the game was Dragon Ball Budakai, I think. This game was incredible, and I think most of the games that came out on the PlayStation 2 for Dragon Ball were quite good, but this one is probably one of my favourites, just for the amount of time that I played it. This game was released in 2002 by the company Bandai. That means that upon the release of this game, I was only 5 years old, which is just mad. Looking back at the graphics of this game, they were great for the time of its release, and to be honest, I'd still be able to play it now, but I feel that it's probably more for nostalgia rather than anything else. The game originally consisted of 23 players, and it went through the first few anime chapters. It starts off with the Saiyan Saga, when you're in the fight with Raditz, and then it finishes off in the Cell Saga, between the fight of Gohan and Cell. The fighting in this game was relatively basic. It was just kicking, punching, ki blasts and the occasional special move. But it was so nice to play, and I remember wasting hours and hours of my day trying to complete this, just to see the separate perspectives of if the villains were to ever lose and what were to happen with them. Now, when I first played Budakai, I was a kid, so although for most people it would probably take around 15 to 20 hours to complete, I remember it taking me a lot longer than that. I think I must have played it every day after school, as well as most weekends. So it was just a great game. Like, I hold it very, very closely to my heart, and for nostalgia's sake, I would probably play it over and over again. I've played most of the Budakai series on the PlayStation 2. I think the only ones that I didn't really play were the ones that were released on the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, which was Shin Budakai and another Shin Budakai, I think. The main reason for this is I didn't really use my PSP, so it wasn't anything to do with the Dragon Ball games. I'm sure they were still great games, I just never really got a chance to play them. The next series of games that I played within the Dragon Ball franchise was Budakai Tenachi, and I think my favourite one of those was most likely number 3, just for the way the game looked. Everything was incredible. There's some gameplay here. For the time of its release, this game was incredible. It was originally aired in Japan in 2007, but it didn't quite make it across the water to the UK until 2008. The game featured one of the biggest character rosters in history on release. There were 98 characters, and within those, there was 161 different forms. One of my favourite parts of this game was the ability to turn into a grey ape while fighting as a Saiyan at night time. This was one of the first games to include both night and day stages. If you played as Scout of Vegeta, you had the ability to create an artificial moon, which could cause you to transform during the day as well, which was pretty sick. The fighting system in this game was much more up to date, and even just the way the camera angles were made, it made it extremely playable. I remember playing this game over and over. I remember on weekends we used to all go around to get a PS2, only 2 controllers at a time, which was a little bit annoying, but we used to just sit there and play versus mode over and over all day, and it was probably one of the highlights of my childhood. The game included so many different things, which made it just an incredible game. There was a free roam section,
within this game, which allowed you to fly yourself to each of the fights. It was a small win, but it added a lot to the feel of the game. The story mode contained a what if section. It makes it feel a little bit more fresh because you aren't consistently just playing the same anime story. But not just any of that, the fighting in this game just seems a lot more like the original anime. It's all so fast paced and everything moves so quickly that it feels more real and more true to the series.
The next series of Dragon Ball games that I personally fell in love with was the Xenoverse games. So they don't follow a linear story. You act as something called a time patroller, and you get to create your own character, which is sick. So you can be a Saiyan, a Namekian, you can be a Buu. It's just great the way that it all works. I played both of the games on Xbox One, that's Xenoverse 1 and Xenoverse 2, and it was great the way that they kind of like intertwined. So at the end of Xenoverse 1, you just complete the game, nothing really happened. You then go into Xenoverse 2, and your character from Xenoverse 1 can come through, and he'll be the hero for Toki Toki City, which basically just means that you get a statue of your original character, like, in the middle of the town, which is pretty sick. If you didn't play Xenoverse 1 and you moved straight on to Xenoverse 2, you just got to pick any hero that you wanted from like a predetermined list to be the hero, which is, again, it's okay. The game from the series that we'll be focusing on today is Xenoverse 2. Nothing wrong with Xenoverse 1. To be honest, they're quite similar in the way that they run, but the only real reason for it is it's still the game that I play. It's the only game that I have pinned on my Xbox because I play it that regularly, and it's incredible the way that the whole game works.
Xenoverse 2 was originally released in 2017, making it a very recent game, and honestly it shows in everything that it does. The gameplay is fantastic and the fighting works so well, although it is considered to be a little bit basic. This game takes more of an RPG approach. You play as a character that you create, which means you can make your very own Saiyan or Namekian, depends on what you want. As a time patroller, you go through history engaging in fights with people from every saga to ensure that the past stays as it is and there isn't any disruption to the timeline. This is great as it isn't just following the linear story of the original Dragon Ball series. Of course, if it isn't your type of thing to go and do quests, there are always doing normal fights. The original character roster is relatively large, but there are multiple DLC packs available to give you the extra characters. Some of these include different variations from Dragon Ball Super, and some added characters from the movies, such as Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. The game has so much going for it, and personally I think that it is probably my favourite Dragon Ball game of all time. That's just my opinion, but I'm sure that it has the potential to change, dependent on what new comes out. The game itself does suffer from some issues. Personally, I think the map is a bit too big during your free roam sections, but it is counteracted by allowing you to fly around once you've reached a certain milestone. The multiplayer servers can hold up to 3,000 people, but whenever I've personally tried to do parallel quests online, it's always met with some form of difficulty. However, the character customization is honestly incredible. Like, you can choose from whatever outfits and super moves you want, so long as your species can successfully utilise them.
So that's the end of my list for my favourite Dragon Ball games. If you're wondering why Kakarot and Dragon Ball Fighter Z are not on there, the main reason is just I haven't had time to go and buy them or play them. But as soon as I have, I will let you know what I think. I'm sure they'll be great. Everything that I've seen from Dragon Ball Fighters especially just looks sick. There's just not enough time in the world, I'm afraid. From all of us here at Just Another Night, we hope you enjoy the rest of our anime week, and we hope that you stay safe and keep yourself inside and all that normal pandemic jibber jabber. So remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know down below what your favourite Dragon Ball game is and why. Like, what's so good about it? Make sure you tune in on Thursday, where we'll be releasing our next podcast. There's a link down below for our link tree. That will give you a various amount of places that you can listen to, so it's your own choice. And remember to tune in on Wednesday to see Toby discuss his favourite anime films, and also on Friday for Idris to discuss, I think it's One Piece he's doing this week, which will be very interesting. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Good game.